If I have to die trying, I will forever spend the rest of my life's breath trying to teach others the true definition and understanding of the word love. It has been said that he who controls the language controls the narrative. No words have ever been truer than that. For instance, think about Nordic or Eskimo languages. They have over 180 different words for the word snow. One of the reasons for this, it's 180. Okay, think about that. Why? Because no two snowflakes are alike, and because Eskimos have so much of it, they want to do their darndest to be able to provide the clearest understanding possible of what one type of snow from another. Thick snow, heavy snow, wet snow, dry snow. I'm from Wisconsin. I know that there's a difference, about 180 words. So when it comes to the English language, it is surprising that the word love, we have only one word. One. I mean, since loving is like our favorite thing to do, as we should be able to have way more words than that. So we struggle to convey what kind of love we have when we tell someone, I love you. I'm certain that the kind of love I have for my new shoes is a little bit different than the love I have for the child, the infant that I just birthed. And that's different from the love that I have for the nation. And you get the point, right? So then, what is love? So let me begin by telling you what love is not. Okay, so love is 100% unquestionably not a feeling. Let me say that again. Love is not a feeling. Oh, want me to prove it to you? Okay, so and to think about the person that you love absolutely most in your life right now. I want you to picture his or her face. I want you to think about them. What I want you to think about the happy times you had. So what are you feeling, right? What thoughts do you have? Good feelings, right? Now, let me ask you, envision that person hauling up and smacking you right in the face. Just smacked you out of the blue. And you're like, what are your feelings now? I bet they are significantly different than the feelings you had when you thought about the nice things that you did with that person. So when there was a beautiful, positive action, you had a loving feeling. And when there were a negative action, a negative feeling followed. See, so did you stop loving that person? Perhaps all it took for you to stop loving that person was that singular incident. So then I ask you, is love a feeling? No. Love is an action. Feelings are simply a result of actions. I feel good when I experience good things, good actions, and I feel bad when I witness bad actions. Love is something I do. I can be kind to you or patient with you. I can keep a catalog of all the wrong things you've committed, not love. Or I can choose to forget them, to move on, and to forgive. That part is love. Love is shoveling the snow of your next door neighbor, even though you know he's young, strong, and perfectly capable of doing it himself. Love is also, as I said, shoveling the snow of that elderly person who can't do it for themselves, and you're doing it as a sacrifice. See, love shovels that snow either way. So loving like this may produce good feelings for you deep down inside, but it may produce uncomfortable or even angry feelings in the neighbor if he's wondering, what the heck are you doing shoveling his snow, or why'd you mow his lawn? What's he trying to prove? That he's better than me? Does he have some kind of an agenda? Regardless of his feelings, the act of shoveling for him was love, assuming your intentions were pure, of course. Taking this understanding further, consider the English phrase to fall in love, to fall out of love. See, a fall is nearly always accidental. So one is powerless over it, and thus when we fall into it, the consequences of falling are, well, we couldn't control the consequences either. So when you fall, you scrape a knee, you have a broken wrist, etc., we're absolved of responsibility because the action was not by choice, right? I fell into that hole, so the broken foot is not my fault. So when we say I fell into love, we presume that's accidental as well. I fell out of love. So that's accidental too. I had no control. But did you? See, the idea that we fall into love with someone conveys that we had no choice and we couldn't control the subsequent feelings. Oh, how wrong we were. Imagine that you're looking at a completely unknown human being, unknown to you, right? He or she may be good looking and you take notice, but do you love that person? No. I mean, what causes you to have feelings for him or for her? I mean, I'm not talking about sexual attraction. I'm talking about the I will you good. And I want to spend time with you kind of good thoughts and feelings. You make a choice. You either talk to that person or not. The conversation is going to cause good feelings or bad feelings. You either spend time with that person or not with that person. The activities you do together will produce either good or bad feelings. We go fishing together versus robbing a bank together. So each of those activities is going to produce a different and a powerful feeling. So despite the fact that it seemed effortless and relatively immediate, loving that person was certainly not an accident. You did not fall into it. You made it happen. Now, be careful before you attack me, because I'm quite aware that love is a lot more nuanced than that. But this is, I'm telling you this to get you to step back and really consider your decisions to love those around you. Because what happens is when we fall out of love, I remember a family member, she wanted to leave her husband. She said, I just fell out of love with him. And then when I talked with her and I said, well, okay, when she was ready for divorce, she said, well, I tried to love him again, but the feelings didn't come back. And then I said, well, what'd you do? She said, well, what do you mean? What'd you do to fall back in love with him? I said, did you guys go on more dates? Did you spend time together? Did you? And she was like, when she stormed off. People don't want to realize that they have control. When I had an affair, my husband and I tried to work to get things back together. We had to be deliberate. I had to give loving actions. He had to give loving actions. When you've had a really bad break in your life, a situation, you have to consciously choose to love that person. And by loving, the loving feelings will come back. And that might be more of your I fell back in love with him or her. So when you want to love someone like your spouse that you fell out of love with, do you spend more time with them, or are you spending more time at work? Because our flesh, the more I don't like you, the more I want to be away from you, but it's the very opposite of that which I need to do if I'm trying to fall back in love with you. Are you actually listening when you'd rather talk? I mean, so what are all these examples of? Love, love, love. I mean, that's it, right? Love. So love is actually pretty simple in theory, of course. Putting it into practice is where we all struggle. So for starters, what I'd like you to do is practice loving that spouse you said you no longer love or no longer have feelings for. I get that part. I had nothing but bad feelings for my husband for many, many years, but that's because the words and actions that took place between us were very unloving on both parts. And so we changed our words, we changed our actions, and over time we said more kind things to each other and less ugly things to each other. And these kind things produced loving feelings. What about you? Have you convinced yourself that you can no longer love your spouse? Have you further convinced yourself that you love someone that you're not married to because you have these incredibly good, strong feelings for him or for her? Likely you're spending more time with them. Likely you're doing nice things for each other. Likely he's buying you flowers or you're doing nice things for him. Do you love this person more than you love your spouse? That's a choice. Are you spending more time with your mistress or mister? Or are you spending more time with your spouse? Are you buying the nicer gifts for your mistress or the nicer gifts for your spouse? Are you sharing your time after work with your mistress? Are you sharing it with your spouse? Loving is a verb, guys. You can either choose to love someone else. You can choose to love the one you married. Even those of you who are not in the midst of an affair and your marriage has gone cold, you can choose to love that person. Again, that verb. So what do? Love, talk lovingly, share your heart, spend time together, pray together, go to mass or church together. You get the point. Now go to work. I never said that this would be easy. But I promise you that if you begin to love your spouse with actions, if you begin to love your spouse by doing things that you know would make Christ smile, not make Christ sad, then the feelings will come back. There's not a lot of things that I say here that I'm going to say 100%, but 100%, if you love one another with your actions, those feelings will come back, because Christ would not have us command us to love someone if love was just a feeling. So he's commanding us to do something that is an action, something we have control over. It may take time, and it may take your spouse. He or she may fight your attempts to love him or her, but that's based on your history. That's based on the time we've got to become safe with one another again. They may think, oh, I don't know why you're doing that. You must have motives. Yeah, you do. Your motive is to love them again and to fall back in love with them. I never thought I could fall back in love with my husband. And I can't even tell you how excited I am that we're going to be spending our 40th anniversary together. Our 40th anniversary. It was on our 4th anniversary that I told him I didn't love him and I wanted to leave him. God is so redemptive. I don't like saying that I hated him, but I did. And that's not even knowing the feelings he had for me. My and his feelings can go from hate to love, from wanting to be apart to enjoying being together, from wanting to sleep with anyone but him to now I can't even imagine myself with someone but him. If God changed that in me, God can change that in you. And I'm up for the challenge. Give me a call. I'll help talk you through it. We'll find out what you're doing that's not loving. And usually it's your flesh. It just doesn't want to do it. So here's your battle. What's stronger, your spirit or your flesh? Because if you let your flesh win, Satan smiles. Jesus frowns. But if you let your spirit win, God can never smile more greatly. So here's your lesson. I need you to fall back in love with your spouse. If you need to give me a call, you can find me here, Christine@breakfastwithbacon.com. All I want to do is save 1 million souls by saving 1 million marriages. Of course, not I, but God through me. Are you up for the challenge? I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. You've been watching an informational Bacon Bit, and I want to remind you, no matter how hard life gets, to always live it sunny side up.